How are you?
Good. I'm all right. How are you?
Good. I got like very sunburnt today,
Oh,
so
it's exciting for
not
you.
good at applying sunscreen, I guess.
Yeah, I'm committing to being good at sunscreen, better at sunscreen this summer. That's my that's my commitment to myself.
Your summer resolution.
My summer resolution. I bought myself a nice sunscreen for my face, and I'm committing to it.
I love the Neutrogena one. It's like the only one that's not like thick and disgusting
Yeah,
for the face, you know.
you know.
But I love a sun bum, their spray, because it smells so tasty. But it's
Yeah,
also like stupid expensive.
yeah.
But yeah. Woo, sunscreen.
Woo!
What did you do today, Sinclair?
Today, well, I've started my job,
What are
which
you
is
doing?
so I'm helping in the office of the camp I'm about to work at, doing preseason stuff. So it's a lot of like buying materials and inventorying their supplies and making
Paperwork
stuff.
and such.
Yeah, more like opening boxes in the warehouse and seeing what's in them, or putting things away, or buying things on Amazon, and like a lot of that.
Yeah.
I did a lot of that today. Um,
Sorry, I'm gonna clean my glasses.
I like your earrings a lot.
Um, that's fun though. Do you like it?
I do like it. It's nice because I feel like I'm getting the lay of the land a bit.
Uh-huh.
And it's like very few people that I'm working with. It's like the program coordinator and the director of operations and someone this week, and they're working in the office of operations, but it's just the four of us for my program for the preseason part. That's kind of cool because I'm like getting to know people, learning some info.
Is it close to home? Because you're not living there for the camp.
Correct. It's like 25-minute drive.
Oh, okay, not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad.
How do you like driving around in Boston? What's it like?
It's all right so far. This is like going from one suburb to another. So Boston has like lots of concentric freeways. So I get to take one that goes around.
Oh, it's just my bank. I was like, why is sorry. Haircut's so bad. Oh, there's Max.
I got a haircut last week and it was so exciting.
Your hair looks good too. I was gonna say it, and then we were talking about sunscreen. Hi, Max. How's Max?
He's good.
Yeah.
Thanks, Max. I wanted to feature you. Well,
Yeah,
so
you could.
the second week, and then I was like, but Max's art. I don't have Max's art. So then
I was just I literally just finished editing the third episode also, which was so fun. And we were funny. I was laughing.
That's good.
Yeah, no, it was good. I was like, wow, maybe we're good at this.
I know. I was watching the first one. Thanks, Max. I watched the first one to see like the order that I talked about the different pictures in, and I like actually got through the whole thing without needing to turn it off because I was like uncomfy watching myself, and I was like, wow, this must be doing something right.
Yeah, it doesn't feel cringy, at least not yet. So it probably will in a few years, but right now I'm like, this is cool.
This is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I'll post about the second one later.
We'll find out.
Find out. It'll be a surprise.
Yeah, my parents listened to the first one, and first of all, they only listened to your half, which made them mad because they were on a bike ride, and they were like, they wanted to hear me because they're my parents, and they were like, we didn't even hear any of yours, and I was like, oh, I should have told you that I'm second.
I like that they were mad.
Yeah, well,
my mom would be like, oh, I got to hear Kendall talk about art today.
Yeah. They weren't mad about it. They were like, Sinclair was good. We were just like a little annoyed because you didn't tell us. And I was like, I didn't think about that at all. And then apparently my dad was annoyed because of the whole concept that it's all audio, but it's all visual art, and they did not get it. They were just annoyed. I was like,
Yeah,
well,
we might need to do some focus groups.
yeah, maybe. I don't know. Oh, we have a jingle now. That happened.
Oh, can I listen to it?
Yeah. I put it in the 3rd episode, so it will be in there with like a fun little Ken Burns like scrolling on our logo. It looks kind of silly, but it's cute. And Yaya made it for us, so thank you, Yaya.
Thanks, yeah.
Thanks, yeah.
Yeah. Everyone good?
Yeah.
Good.
I talked to Sinclair. How's Max doing? You didn't really talk.
Sinclair's in Boston.
Sinclair's not really in Boston. Sinclair's in Lexington.
Sinclair's in the Revolutionary War. That's crazy.
You
know. Yeah, I'm good. I'm no longer in Florida.
Yeah.
So.
That's true. You said you were going to San Francisco.
I'm going to San Francisco tomorrow to go to my friend's bar mitzvah. Well, my friend's cousin's bar mitzvah.
You told me, yeah.
So I'm excited.
Max, how many 13-year-old friends do you have?
I don't know a single 13-year-old, I don't think. I don't think I know a single 13-year-old that exists.
Wow.
At all.
That's wild.
Yeah.
But it's okay. I'm fine.
You're not like clamoring to have 13 friends?
Well, I would like to go to more bar mitzvahs. I'm always open a bar mitzvah.
Have some kids, Max. Have like 7 kids and you could have 7 bar mitzvahs.
Well, I don't know. I don't think my kids
I don't want to plan one, but I want to go.
I don't think my kids are going through that. I think
but it's so fun.
I just want free food, and I'm going to tear up this dance floor. Next week, we're going to be talking about how I teared up the dance floor at this bar mitzvah.
I'm ready. My brother's bar mitzvah was like one of the most fun moments of my life, probably.
You told me about it. Sounded super cool, and I was like kind of very sad I couldn't
Just
go.
a great time to I feel like I am going to really enjoy going to weddings. So
yeah, we're gonna get into wedding territory. I'm fucking excited.
Weddings are scary, bro. I don't want to think about that. Bar mitzvahs are good because you don't have to think about anything. You just
I mean, for some people, it's like you're becoming a man, so that's
right. For them, for them.
Yeah. For the guests, it's just fun. Do weddings make you sad?
I've never been to a wedding, actually. I don't think I've ever been to a wedding.
I haven't been to a wedding since I was like.
This is crazy.
It's been a long time.
You guys
I want to go to more weddings.
I'm scared of seeing people I know get married. I think that's what I'm scared
of. Okay, fair.
I'd love to go to a wedding, but I'm scared of.
I want to go to like an acquaintance's wedding where I don't really know anyone.
Right.
That's fun. And then you can like be a fool and not.
Yeah, exactly. That's the vibe I want.
I just kind of like go crazy because my mom and I have a big family and I have lots of like older cousins. So I've been to several weddings and I love them. And my mom and I would just fucking go crazy on the dance floor and like be silly people.
Yeah.
It was always super fun. But now I can like drink at weddings, which is even more fun.
Yeah.
And my cousin is getting married in Australia in April.
Damn.
And I desperately want to go. I'm like saving up for a plane ticket, but I don't even know if Australia is going to be open until July 2022 is what they're talking about. But if you guys want to come to Australia, you'd have to pay for your tickets, but be kind of lit. I think it's going to be around our spring break, so maybe. Well, yeah. I don't even have a formal invite, but I'll bring.
Okay.
It's just because like she hasn't invited any of the American family because she doesn't know if like we can come. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Should we talk about tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
share.
Yeah.
Max, in the meantime, what do you have behind you on your wall?
This.
Yeah.
You should be able to.
That's my dad's. I think this character is like, it's like from a cartoon. I should know the name of it. Someone told me the name of it because I was on a Zoom with it, and someone's like, I like this guy. And I was like, yeah. And I didn't know who it was.
He looks familiar. I can't place him though.
Let me look it up.
You should be able to share, Sinclair. Wow.
We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
Let's see, where do I want to be? Not that one.
Oh yeah, you're doing Klimt. Oh,
Today we're gonna talk about Gustav Klimt because he's my favorite, and we actually will go on this one because this is my nice search of Klimt paintings to get a sense of his style. He's pretty cool. He was born in 1862 and was making a lot of art around the turn of the century, of the 20th century. He is from Austria, before it was Austria, but still, he's Austrian. And he is most recognized or most sort of thought of for his golden phase, with paintings like The Kiss, which is this one, and The Portrait of Adele Bloch-Bauer, which is the one I want to talk about. But throughout his career, he had lots of sort of geometric motifs, lots of paintings of female bodies that were often sort of critiqued as being overly erotic or even veering on pornographic. Which
wow, if that's pornographic, watch out for what I'm going to talk about.
I'm excited. This one is interesting. I don't know. He's a cool guy. I really like his style. I'm a big fan. I have a puzzle of this, I think. That's
Can you show me like the not gold? Because I've never seen any of his not gold.
Yeah. I get a lot of my info from Wikipedia. But
everyone.
Yeah. I think that this is earlier than the golden phase. Another, like, he's part of this like Vienna secession movement.
Yeah.
That is, I think, older, or earlier.
Wow.
Yeah. These ones. Cool. So yeah, but he's got like these geometric patterns that you can see like on the bodies and the clothes and the ground here, in The Kiss throughout his career, which is kind of cool to have some continuity. That's not what I want to do, but that's fine. Cool. So that's Klimt's style, and in his golden phase especially, which is sort of like the peak of his career, or at least like the most modernly recognizable part of his career, he was using a lot of gold leaf, so like actual gold on the paintings, and that sort of style references Byzantine mosaics. So I have an example in my notes of this Justinian from San Vitale and Ravenna. This is
an AP work.
An AP art history work. But
Maybe
this
is a
is
helpful study guide.
Seriously.
Maybe a little crazy, but
so this is a mosaic from a church in Italy, from the Byzantine period. And overall, Byzantine work has a lot of gold backgrounds, especially on sort of religious figures. So often when we see sort of a figure that's like clothed in gold or backed in gold, that's sort of a sign that it's a religious icon. And so in sort of referencing these Byzantine things, he sort of elevates his subjects to a religious status, to somewhere beyond the secular, even though he was often painting real life people who commissioned these works. And we can talk about his relationships with his subjects also. But so the painting that I want to talk about is this one. This is called The Portrait of Adele Bloch-Bauer. and it was commissioned by her husband. She was a real woman. Her in Austria. Her husband was Jewish. He probably was too, I would imagine. Yep. And this is a work that I talked about in a class last semester. I was in a class that had a lot about sort of repatriation, and it was called Who Owns the Past? And this piece of art is a really interesting study in repatriation around World War II. So this piece of art was commissioned by her husband, was like owned by their family. She died in 1925, I believe, and she sort of, even though she didn't own this piece of art, she is depicted in it, Adele Bloch-Bauer, and she sort of willed it to this art gallery in Austria, I guess. And during World War II, because her husband was Jewish, they fled and the Nazis seized their art collection. So this work and some other Klimt pieces, I believe, in addition to the rest of their collection, was stolen by the Nazis, probably hidden somewhere where they hid a lot of art. There were a lot of big wigs in the Nazi party who liked to steal a lot of expensive art and then squirrel it away in places, which is also interesting. We watched a movie about this in that class.
I was gonna say I saw the movie about this a long time ago.
Yeah.
But I think I fell asleep because I wasn't really into art yet.
Yeah. The movie that I watched about this is called The Rape of Europa, and there's also a book by the same name.
I'm talking about the fictionalized one. It's called like Woman in Gold. That's what it's called.
Yeah, that's the other sort of colloquial name for this painting. Yeah, Rape of Europa is like a documentary about World War II and Nazi stolen arts, which is also good. It's kind of a lot though. And so this piece of art sort of like hung out in Germany for a while, and then following World War II, the German like lawyer or whoever was like assigned to this case gave it to the gallery that Adele Bloch-Bauer had wanted it to go to. But plot twist, her husband, who actually owned this work of art, when he died, he had willed it to like his nephew and nieces. So that was different. That was interesting. And in the present day, I think in like, I don't remember, in the 2000s, Maria Altman, who is one of those nieces, who is a surviving person, and I think she maybe lives in the United States, wanted it back. Like, she was like, this Klimt is of my aunt, and I would like to have it, please. And she fought this like legal battle for repatriation. And it was heard at the US Supreme Court, and it was heard by like a committee in Vienna that decided that, yes, this is all good, it can go to her. And then she sold it to an art collector in New York, who put it in a gallery that I think you can visit, but it's a little unclear, and it is now privately owned by someone in New York who is not her and not related to her. So this is kind of an interesting thing. Like, what do we think? Who does it belong to? Who should it belong to? Who should be able to see things like this that are, for whatever reason, a part of the Western canon? Like, this is probably, this and The Kiss are probably Klimt's most famous works. She's on postcards, like she's in fictionalized movies. Like, I don't know. What do we think? Something interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. That's crazy though, that she went through all of that and then just sold it. I mean, maybe she was hurting for money. Like, that's the only reason I can think of that's like acceptable to me, you know, because you're already taking this beautiful work away from public viewing, and then to like sell it for your own gain, and like, I don't know, feels very morally corrupt to me. But
this painting sold for $135 million.
Wow.
I want to see if it's on view anywhere, or if it's hidden away.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine being in that situation where you've got like this insane insanely beautiful and expensive work of art in your family where you have to have those questions, I guess, but kind of disappointed in her, low key.
It seems like it is on display at the man she sold it to's museum in New York. You could go see it if you want.
What's the museum called?
It's called the Neue Gallery.
Oh, is that the one on is it on like Museum Drive or whatever?
I'm not sure.
Because there's a gallery that's like exclusively Austrian art, and there's a Klimt there, but I don't think it's her.
I think it is in this museum zone.
Oh yeah, the new gallery. Yeah. I've totally been there. Okay. Maybe it is there, and I'm just crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Some other tidbits. Here, we can go to the bigger maybe picture in my notes. She's kind of cool. I don't know. I like the geometry. I like that, like, she's like, to me, she really looks like Byzantine icons, and like her skin in her like neck and face and hands is the only part of this painting that's not like in this sort of otherworldly realm.
Mm-hmm.
And she like sort of takes on this like higher, more like spiritual existence, like, even though this is modeled on like a real woman.
Mm-hmm.
The literature is mixed about whether Klimt and the subject of this portrait were having an affair. It's possible. She is also the sort of model for this other painting by Klimt, which is a Judith and Holofernes, throwback to last time or 2 times ago. This is Judith, and you can kind of tell she looks the same.
Yeah.
As this lady over here.
She's also naked. So maybe they were.
Yeah.
She is naked. And then we have this like half head over here. So that's kind of interesting. This is
Wait, didn't you say the husband commissioned it though? What if he like started their affair by commissioning it? Like ultimate cuckold. Like
I thought Joseph was the ultimate cuckold.
Well, yeah, I guess he's cuckolded by God, so he's higher up on the list of cuckolds, but this guy's pretty close.
Cuckold rank.
Yeah.
Rank all the cuckolds.
Rank all the cuckolds, Kendall.
Number 9.
And then I have a secret bonus painting for us. So this is the kiss, if you're not familiar. And then this is my colored pencil version of the kiss.
Ooh.
Courtesy of Vanessa Walker Oaks for putting this.
That's very nice. Yeah. That's worth under 35 million.
Yeah.
Not till you buy this off me.
I prefer this one.
Yeah.
Actually, priceless. I'm not willing to part with it. Sorry.
Big sad.
All right.
Yep. Nice. That's all I've got about Klimt, but I'm a big fan of Gustav Klimt, and I really like his style. So if anyone ever wants to buy me $1 million painting, this would be a good option.
135.
Yes. Yeah, I went to that gallery with Ms. Burton, actually. We went on a little New York date there. It's very small and cute. I highly recommend, and easy to get to. So, yeah. Very cool. Okay. Am I gonna go? Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna go.
Oh, I'm so warm. Okay.
So warm, so sunburned.
Yeah, I know. So bad. Okay. How do I want to do this? I think I'm gonna introduce him to you through the painting. So I will share. Okay. Let's look at this one first. Okay. So this is Brian Ridley and Lyle Heater by Robert Mapplethorpe. It's a photograph. He was a photographer mostly in New York in the like 60s, 70s, and 80s. He is a gay icon, truly. I wanted to do someone for Pride who was gay, and he was the first person that came to mind. And I mean, now I have a couple qualms about it, which I'll tell you later. But yeah. This is from 1979. So just for some context, because there's a lot of like historical stuff in this one. So Stonewall happens in 1969. I'm going to give a brief summary of that. I hope you two know what it is, but in case our audience doesn't know, I would like them to. The Stonewall riots actually were started by Marsha P. Johnson when in the 80s, no, I'm sorry, in the 60s, there were lots of gay bars. It was like a safe haven for gay people. And police were raiding gay bars a lot. And they would do this every once in a while, just bust a bunch of people and arrest them for sodomy, which is any sex that's not deemed like good intercourse by the church. So basically like oral, anal, same sex, yeah. So they were all like busting all these bars, and then one night they went to the Stonewall Inn, which still exists in San Francisco. I think, wait, no, New York, maybe. I don't remember. I think it's New York. I think it's New York. And then they come to raid it, and then rather than just being arrested like they had most of these other times, like Marsha P. Johnson throws a brick into a window, which kind of like ignites this riot. And they really fought back. It became, I think, a several night riot. And then eventually protests, and that's basically what like ignited the mainstream gay rights movement in America. So that's Stonewall. I explained it to my grandma earlier because she had no idea about any of this. And yeah, so that's that, 1969. Mapplethorpe is living in New York around this time. He made this painting in 1979, and he died from AIDS in 1989. So this is all like Reagan era, also very conservative. We've got the satanic panic happening, lots of homophobia in the media. So that's your basic context. Yeah, in this photograph, we have two men in like a sub-dom relationship, which is like submissive versus dominant, for those who don't know. I'm explaining a lot more sex stuff than I thought I would be. And the guy standing is the dom, he's holding the chains, and the other guy is the sub. And they're both staring directly into the camera, which is really interesting because like in a lot of depictions of women in art, they're never staring at you. And that's why I think it's a Degas painting. It starts with an O. Ophelia? What's the one she's laying down and she's like looking at directly at the audience. And so it's like caused a big controversy. Sinclair will figure it out. But it's similar to that, where you have like the people in the work are actually confronting the audience with their own eyes, and it feels much more personal. In one of the articles I was reading by a guy named Jackson Arn, and it was also from artsy.net, which is my new favorite art history resource. I got like all of my notes from that last time too, I think. In that, he says that like their gaze is the only straight thing in the photograph, which I thought was kind of funny. And yeah, let's see. This is all out of order. Yeah, so Mapplethorpe's BDSM photography is kind of what made him the most like famous / infamous, depending on how you view him. And made him very controversial. He actually did have a lot of success within his lifetime, which is, as we know, not common for artists. So that was kind of a big deal. And he actually started a very cool foundation with the money that he made from ticket sales, and it's called the Robert Mapplethorpe Foundation, and they, let's see. Oh yeah, and they provide funds for AIDS research and treatment in New York and Boston, and also I think promote like photography in art. Um, so that's cool. If you're looking for a place to donate this Pride Month, there you go. Yeah, so okay. One more thing about this picture. It's very like stiff and formal. If you look at like the background, I mean, it looks kind of like a mid-century modern home. Very simple lines with the fireplace and stuff, if that's a fireplace. There was some quote that talked about how that like all of the objects in the room kind of become like kinky sex objects just by being there, like in proximity to them. Specifically, they were talking about the end table and kind of how that feels sexual, and I'm not quite sure why it does, but I also agree, like it feels like there's something going on with the strange little end table made of antlers. Oh yeah, maybe because like they talked about how animalistic sex is and how that's kind of a way that he depicted it sometimes. Maybe it's a reference to that. I don't know. But yeah, they're very stiff and formal, which is like in deep contrast with their outfits and appearance. Yeah, there's lots of contrast and balance. He was very good at like the technical aspects of photography. These were intended to shock people. Now looking at this, it might not shock us, but at the time, like so many of these were just angered a lot of old white people. I'll just put it that way. And probably not white people also. But yeah, rampant homophobia at the time. AIDS is happening. Apparently 4 months after Mapplethorpe's death, Jesse Helms, who was a conservative Congress member, tried to sponsor a bill that would forbid the National Endowment for the Arts from sponsoring works involving homoeroticism and S&M and individuals involved in sex acts, which is like a huge portion of art, like is about sex. So censorship was a big conversation around these works too, which you'll see later too. And the NEA, the National Endowment of the Arts, is still debated. And I read that Trump almost tried to abolish it, which I kind of forgot about, or maybe purposefully forgot about. But yeah, and the NEA basically gives money to artists, which allows them to, you know, succeed in the art world because it's such a difficult thing without money. It's just one of those industries where you need money. And that's a big part of why Mapplethorpe was able to be so successful also, is because he got these grants to keep working. Yeah, I talked about that. Okay, this is the kind of problematic part. So, are you good, Max? Okay. Yeah, so I guess Mapplethorpe had kind of an obsession with like, they called it in this article cross-racial sex, and like talked about how radical that was and how that kind of excited him, which feels strange to me because it's definitely like fetishizing Black people. I mean, he talked a lot about how he loved Black people specifically, which is, it's very fetishistic, if that's a word. And definitely that's what like raised the qualms for me. And then I read in another article that apparently he used the N-word very liberally, and kind of talked about it like it was nothing. I think he was probably viewing it as like, this is a radical, this is acceptance, whatever, but I don't necessarily agree with that. And they kind of made it seem like that was just during sex, but I think it was a more general thing. And yeah, he was also raised Catholic, which is very fun considering all of his very not Catholic works. And I guess also considering the kind of like satanic imagery that he ends up using sometimes. A little quote from him is, "Sex is magic. If you channel it right, there's more energy in sex than there is in art." which I was like, that's such a strange thing to say, but go off. He was born in Queens, and he actually started with like mixed media and collage. He did a lot of these like big books, and he would just collage all the time, and did a lot of drawing. And I'll talk about that a little bit more. But yeah, he was just starting to see like the peak of his success when he died. He had an exhibit at the Whitney, which is in New York. It's a great museum, in 1988, and he died in 89. So, oh, he also has lots of photos of children, which are some of the works that I feel the strangest about, because it's, I mean, he talks about wanting to show their innocence and naivete and everything, and he was very clear that all of those were consensual. A lot of the children were kids of his friends and stuff, so he knew them, and it, I guess, wasn't weird, as far as I know. Oh yeah, and he also photographed some celebrities such as Grace Jones, who's very, very cool. And the portrait of her that he made, maybe I'll look it up because I didn't put it in here, is really interesting because it uses some African imagery also. But she is in like a position of power and looks very beautiful. And he also talked about how he sought perfection in form. Okay, so that's that. Oh, let's talk about Patti Smith. Oh, I'll show you a couple of these. So here he is. This is him. He did a lot of self-portraits. I'm not sure if this one, oh yeah, it says it right there. This was a self-portrait. Yeah, this is what he looked like. This one caused a lot of controversy. It's called Leather Crotch. He used a lot of leather, and if you don't know, leather is a big part of the, specifically like the gay male community originally, because it was kind of like a reaction to the idea that gay men were like effeminate and, you know, like pansies or whatever. And so they kind of adopted this as a way to show that they were still like virile, masculine men and also gay. So this is like one of my favorites that I found, and it's actually a full body shot, but he's like completely nude, so I felt like maybe I shouldn't put that on YouTube. So this is like a beautiful work. He's just so good at capturing like the human body, and like the way the lighting is so beautiful. And I mean, often the people in his works look like statues almost because of the way they're lit. Which gives it kind of this like static, decontextualized image. I don't know why, but it does. Okay, this is the Patti Smith slide. So Patti Smith is a musician, poet, writer. She's very cool. She's still alive. I wrote it down somewhere. She's 74. And she's very cool. I highly recommend this book. I haven't read anything else of hers, but I listened to the audiobook and it's so good. She reads it herself. So I really recommend it. And a lot of it, that's Robert Mapplethorpe next to her here. And a lot of it is about their relationship. They both, well, I guess Patti moved to New York. He was already in New York. They met, I think, when Patti was on a bench or something. They were both homeless. If I remember right, but don't quote me. And then they just kind of started this partnership, and they were like artists together. They were really good friends. The way she talks about him, I wondered if there was some romance, because I think she talked about them sleeping together a couple times. And they definitely were like a couple, but it was not like your standard definition of that by any means. Which after seeing everything from him, you wouldn't expect that either. So yeah, they were very close, very cool. And he actually shot, he shot this for her, which is the album cover of Horses, one of her albums. And he's shot like several of her album covers. But yeah, so read the book, it's good. And it's really sweet. Like you hear about, oh, there was one anecdote I wanted to talk about they were trying to get housing because they were really poor, and so they go over to the Chelsea Hotel, I think it's called, and they just like were giving people like their art as payment in large part. And like Patty said to this guy, she was like, you may not know us yet, but we're gonna be big stars. And sure enough, they were. So like she was right. And they accepted it too. Like the hotel manager let them stay because
That's
they
crazy.
gave them art. Yeah. I wonder what the actual physical works were. I'd love to see which ones convinced him, but I don't know. Oh, I also found out that they hung out together at Andy Warhol's factory, which is kind of fun. It ties in a little bit to the second episode. And Patty talks about how Mapplethorpe gave her like the confidence to succeed in her industry, and how like he believed in her always when she didn't believe in herself. And it was really sweet, very wholesome. Okay, that's all I have about her. Okay, and then we do some references. So this is Wilhelm. No, Sinclair, say it. I'm not gonna.
There's no way. Yeah, Wilhelm von. I don't know.
Von Gloden?
Bleeding.
Yeah, it depends on what language that is. I don't know.
I think it's German. I don't know. But yeah, a lot of Mapplethorpe's inspiration in terms of like depicting children came from him. I didn't actually include any of his children pictures because there's a lot of nudes there also, but this one specifically looks very similar to one of Mapplethorpe's works. This is the one here, Hypnos. And then this I had to censor because it's just his dick is out, which I really like this one because it's very much just like the Winnie the Pooh thing, just like shirt on top, no pants. Very fun picture, and it's kind of a twist on the whole like he looks a lot like the like 1910s guy with the barbells, you know.
Yes.
But instead he just doesn't have pants.
The guy who's like who plays fisticuffs.
Yeah, him.
He's like, ooh.
Yeah. Okay, this is Joseph Cornell. He got a lot of inspiration, I think, in his early work from Joseph Cornell. His works are so cool, and I was when I was editing the episode on the Marode altarpiece, I was like looking at this, and I was like, I should have brought that up because Joseph Cornell makes these awesome little like dioramas, and they have such cool little found art stuff in them, lots of like space motifs and stuff, and the way the Marode altarpiece looks, it almost looks like a diorama, like Max had said, where you can like reach into it. So anyway, so I think he got a lot of his like mixed media inspiration from Cornell. This is Duchamp, the very, very famous Duchamp, called Fountain, which is like famously, he just like tips it over and then writes his name on it, and he's like, hell yeah, this is my art. So I didn't really find how that inspired Mapplethorpe, but I guess it did. I don't know. And then this is another, I guess it doesn't say the artist. The artist's name is Julia Margaret Cameron. And he also got inspiration on depicting children from her and her photography. And this is a Madonna and Child that I thought was really beautiful and like also very like statuesque, which like mirrors a lot of Mapplethorpe's works. So I'm just gonna show you some photos of him because I want you to get like a full-on view of like all of his works because there's so much. I might have to, I guess, censor things, but it's fine. So like very gay, very leather. I read something else that said that he would like lots of gay men would come over to like, I guess, have sex probably, and someone said they'd bring suitcases full of like syringes and candles and handcuffs and all the BDSM stuff. So his place was very much a place for eroticism. But it's just so cool. Like the way he shows like muscles, I think is really amazing. Oh, this one I wanted to talk about because it has a pentagram, and he was doing this all in the Satanic Panic, and he's a Catholic. So I thought this was a really great, like, kind of fuck you to the Catholic Church a little bit, and also to like Reagan era politics. He has some flower series. Oh, that's Andy Warhol, right here. So there you go. Yeah, there's a child one. This has a pretty good summary. Oh, and this is the Grace Jones right here, which is so cool. So yeah, there's just an all black and white basically, and very much like depicting Black people. Talks about that a lot, but and as much as I think he fetishized them, I do think the way that he photographs them is so beautiful and like does help I guess change the idea, because I think in media, as far as I know, I am a white person, but Black people aren't allowed to, like, especially Black gay men aren't allowed to like have sexuality, you know, it's like not seen as for them, and so this kind of flips that on its head and like shows them as sexual beings, people that have desire, people that are people, you know. So I don't know if I said that well, but you get the idea, hopefully. But yeah, that's about all I have. Any thoughts? I like this shoe. Yeah, bathtub. Oh yeah, and he started with Polaroids. I don't know if I said that, but yeah.
Classic.
Yeah.
I succeeded in my mission. If anyone still cares, the painting where the woman is looking at the viewer is called Olympia, and it's by Manet.
Yeah. Oh, Manet. Yeah.
And she's pretty special because she looks like a reclining nude, which were very common, but she's looking at you.
Yeah.
Which is common.
Big deal.
There you have it.
People were also mad about that. But yeah, so you see why I was like, these are much more pornographic than Klimt.
It's a sex podcast now. You can't stop it.
Yeah, I mean, we did Fragonard, so we'll see. I'm gonna upset all the parents that listen. But sorry, it's our podcast, not yours. But yeah, any thoughts, Max?
I don't know. Like on specific paintings or on specific work.
I don't know.
I like the portrait. I think like there's a lot in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If I want, can I comment specifics? I don't know.
Sure, whatever you want.
Yeah, I think. Well, I think also, I think the antler table is interesting because. I don't know. It's like it seems to be. I like this. Maybe is a reach, but it's definitely constructed from several sets of antlers as opposed to one.
Yeah.
Which could be significant.
Mm-hmm.
I also think like the shadows are really interesting, and I think like this shadow, that like the top one looks like a cop.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And like that being right over their shoulders, I think is probably significant.
Yeah, definitely.
So those are my comments.
No, that's great. And I think you're right. Like the multiple antlers could be like multiple sex partners, things coming together.
And also,
a lot of symbolism.
Also, like obviously, antlers are like male or like bucks.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Or you know whatever species. But
yeah, I also just noticed these books. I don't know what the books are about.
Yeah.
But they're kind of funny. And there's lots of very like classical looking, like the clock and the lamp and all of this like, is that Renaissance? I think style, like ceramics and stuff feel very like old and antiquated. Yeah. Well, yeah. Oh, Max, do you want to talk about that painting as your bonus painting?
What painting? Oh, this?
Thank you. Yeah.
I don't have much to say about it. I can't figure out what cartoon character is.
Okay.
I could probably ask my dad. but it's something. He has a lot of like in Florida, and it was actually interesting last week because my grandma has a lot of his paintings like in her house, and
It's cute.
I think like he did a lot of these series where he like basically like took a cartoon character like this and like overlaid it on something like kind of more serious. Like this is like a World War II bomber. I think like he has one that I really like is where he has Captain Crunch on like this World War II naval vessel, like pointing the ship towards war.
I want to see this so bad.
So like that's I don't know, I like that series of his.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah, Pocket.
Yeah.
That's the jingle.
We still don't have an ending thing. We gotta figure it out.
Yeah. We have any jokes? What's up, everybody?
I only have kid-friendly jokes.
Yeah.
To work at a kid camp. But why did the cookie go to the hospital?
Because he crumbled.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
He was feeling crummy.
Oh.
Okay.
I mean, crumbled isn't exactly a pun.
Yeah, it's just like he literally just.
He's just having a breakdown.
He literally just needs to be prepared.
Our cookie's having some problems.
All right.
Cool. I mean,
that was
do want
art.
to say, yeah, that was art.
That was art too.
Yeah. I do want to say I will do a queer non-white person next week for Pride. So look out for that. Yeah. And these are coming out on Sundays. I've decided. So.
Well, I now have access to Instagram, so who knows what will happen.
I want to see. Y'all
Chaos might ensue.
Yeah, do
Who
it.
knows what's gonna happen?
Who knows?
Make us go viral, Max.
Yeah.
I'm gonna harass people to listen to our podcast.
Those cyberbully people.
People are gonna be like, "Who's running your Instagram?" People are gonna be like, "Why is this guy bullying me?" And saying that the only way for me to be cool is to listen to the podcast.
I think that'd be great.
So look out for that.
Yeah.
Beware. Max is coming for you.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Okay. Bye, everyone. I will be watching A Quiet Place at the Lemley tonight.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's fun.
I watched I watched
the
that
second one.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
the second one's out.
You think it's good?
Yeah, it was good.
Interesting. Interesting.
Have you seen the first one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the first one.
I watched the first one
It's solid.
last year in my first 2 weeks of college.
I'm wondering if I'll like it because I'm in my mind. I'm like, do we really need a second one?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's the only reason I haven't been pumped about it.
But I want to go see a movie. So
my mom was really excited.
I want to see Minari because that's still playing.
You haven't seen it yet?
No, I never saw. Because like movie theaters were closed, and that's the big way I would enjoy watching movies because I can actually like concentrate.
Minari's great.
Event, you know. So I kind of stopped watching a lot of movies. At least, watching them all the way through.
I'm trying to grind Lemley. Do it. Lemley can't stop me at this point.
Yeah, Max is gonna single-handedly.
I'm trying to put them in. I'm trying to make them still exist.
Good, as you should.
Out there.
Oh, if you want a good picture of yourself for the thumbnail, you should smile and say,
"Oh, look, it's me." Yeah, that was embarrassing. That was low-key embarrassing. I was like,
oh, like you were just sitting in bed like the whole time.
The whole time? Like, did you scrub through the whole thing? Like,
no, I was like,
okay.
Because you were the last
that
one.
Was so sad. That was so sad. I was like, bruh.
It's okay. I'm gonna make the thumbnail right now.
It's so hilarious though. It's like, you guys drinking tea, and then I'm just like,
Yeah, well, because me and Sinclair both had
Yeah.
tea, and I was like, cute. And then I was like, this is a bummer that Max doesn't have tea, so I guess he's just gonna be in bed.
all right.
You
Well,
should just always
I'm
take
gonna
picture
do.
of Max drinking some water.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
not do them in bed anymore.
Okay.
I was just really tired that
So
day.
professional of you.
It doesn't matter. Like, I don't care, but
Yeah,
do you?
that's when the best comedy comes out.
Yeah. In bed?
In bed.
Yo.
That's a little unfortunate.
All right.
actually.
Well.
But on that note,
Have some
Okay.
good bed comedy.
Bye, everyone.
yay.